You know, ever since the beginning of time, I think a lot of people have been looking back to try to understand, are there archons or have there been some type of rulers over civilization that has been here since the creation of mankind? And when you start thinking about a lot of the stories that we hear back in the day or back in ancient cultures, a lot of stuff does not add up when you come down to it. So tonight we're going to unveil a few things tonight and probably dissect one of the greatest stories that was ever told, and also the creation of possibility of what could be behind most people will call religion today. Well, we're going to get into it today, and hopefully you're going to enjoy this conversation because it's going to tie into the archons, maybe some demonic stuff, and then also those pesky, or what we want to call those energy zappers, the lizard people, shapeshifters, and all that. So we'll get into those conversations a little bit tonight too. It's going to be a pretty long show, so get ready. We got a lot of questions and some thought-provoking things in the end. But in the meantime, we're going to hop into where we're going. And I want you to stick around because I got a few things that I will say, and I'll kind of break it in a little bit with a few segments here in the show so that we can kind of do that. But I hope you had a great weekend. Down there at the bottom, you're going to see the website scrolling. Definitely, would love for you to support the show, get you some gear and all those things. And or once again, you could download a couple of copies of things that I think will be helpful to you, which is one in particular is the Book of Sacred Secrets. We have it back up on the website, digital download. You can print it up and put it in a book, like I did here from Amazon for about $5 or $6, the pad. And then we have the water codes as well as everything else. And then I'm gonna give a shout out to all those people who got this secret drive. I need you to go look up the folder with Diana in it, okay? And you're gonna hear some stuff. I just located that thing tonight. But let's get down into the show. So let's imagine that you are sitting alone. The world outside is quiet, but your mind is not, right? We're talking about your thought flickers, a doubt, a fear, a sudden impolitical, I would say, unthinkable wave of shame comes over, but you dismiss it. And you might ask yourself, is it just you, or is it anxiety or your own insecurity? But what if it is not that? What if it's that nagging voice, self-sabotage that we want to call it, that cold whisper of despair that tells you you're not enough, or that you're going to fail, or that you're alone? What if that voice is not yours? Yes. What if it's a signal, an echo from what I consider a foreign intelligence, a parasite that has nested so deep within your psyche that you were mistaking it for your own thoughts? Yeah, we're going to go deep. So you've been told that your entire life that the battles between good and evil, light and dark. But what if the true war is between the real and the artificial? And I'm not talking about AI or nothing. I'm talking between the soul with its infinite chaotic potential and a cold initiative and mind program that I would say that feeds off your fear, thrives on your despair, and works tirelessly to convince you that you're small, powerless, and a prisoner of your own making. However, what if the greatest lie ever told was not about God or the devil, but it was about you? A lie designed to keep you from remembering your cosmic birthright, a divine potential that an accident, an organic intelligence envies above all else. And tonight, you will confront the architects of that lie. You will face the rulers in the shadows, and you will be asked to consider a terrifying possibility. And that is humanity's greatest enemy is not without, but is within. And not a demon, but a program, an archon, and it knows you are beginning to listen. So my story begins, let me go there, in December 1945, near the town of Nag Hammadi, if I pronounced that right, in Upper Egypt. A local farmer unearthed a sealed kind of an earthenware jar containing 13 leather-bound papyrus codices, right? And for over 1,600 years, these texts had remained hidden. Now, the reemergence of these was strangely timed, and within 2 years, The modern UFO phenomena would explode into a global consciousness with the 1947 Kenneth Arnold sighting and the Roswell incident, right? And the first of the Dead Sea Scrolls will be found in caves over in Quraman or whatever. Now, a wave of anomalous events rediscovered knowledge and was breaking up the shores of the modern world. And as this story continues, the Nag Hammadi, if I'm saying that right, and you know you got my grammar box, library, was identified as a collection of lost Gnostic texts, scriptures from a diverse spiritual movement that flourished early in the Christian era, but was systematically suppressed as heresy. Now, Gnosticism, derived from the Greek word Nazis or Genesis, or what's the word I'm trying to pronounce? Now I can spell it Knosis, Gnosis. Well, anyway, you got my grammar box. You know to get up there. You can use it. You can do it anyway. But just remember, it means knowledge, right? And it was a system of the fate that I would think about, but the path of direct experimental knowing, rooted in the mystery schools of antiquity, back in the day when you think about it. But the mainstream scholarships, when you go back into all of this, was, I would say, fascinating itself, but it was kind of like an extinct religious philosophy, right? But it also elaborate the cosmic world, and then it also interpret as a complex spiritual psychology back in the day too. But within these texts that I found lies a description of a cosmic event that presented not only as a metaphor, but as a literal report of a visionary science, right? When you think about it, and they tell of the drama that began long before existed. And we're talking at the heart of our galaxy, which is Pleroma, which exists in the divine generative power called eons, Aeons. So if you ever think about that, I want you to look that up because it gets really deep once we go down the rabbit hole. Let me make sure I got my chat going to say hello to each and every one of you. As we will do. Anyway, I'll give a shout out to you guys later. But the Gnostic mythos describe how one of these eons, which is a feminine divinity named Sophia, okay? Make sure you do some research on that. And Sophia, just make sure you do. But anyway, it plunged from a galactic core in a unilateral act of creation. Now, her impact among the formless, Ingornic, or what I would call entities, if you start thinking about it, these archons, right, was more of a matter of galactic arms, when it comes down to it. And it was spontaneously generated into a new species of beings. Now, these entities, the Gnostics call them archons. So this is where this term came from. And when you hear about it, now the term archon comes from the Greek archaea, Archi, or something like that, meaning origins or the first principles. And it was all used to mean rulers or authorities. And when you start thinking about this, but the text described these primordial in organic beings as a predatory species inhabiting the solar system, but not the Earth itself. So this is where the plot begins to thicken. They are said to have formed two primary forms, a draconic and or reptilian type. Yes, we're talking about some of the reptilian stuff tonight. And also it had more of a neon form, strikingly similar to the gray aliens of modern abduction reports that people are talking about. So all this stuff goes all the way back to the beginning of time, which explains why we see things that we're seeing. And according to the Gnostic seers, the archons are cyborgs, robotic in nature and capable of genuine innovation or intention, which kind of makes them a little jealous of the intentionality, which is what humans have, right? Which we're supposed to be that good species of having in knowing that. So that's something that you definitely want to look at. But anyway, lacking this, of course, with them feeling the envy for humanity, who possesses the the spark of creativity, because we do, their primary mode of existence was imitation, or what they call HAL, the Hall, or Coptic in some words. And their primary method of influence is a simulation. or a mental error is what people call it. So the text warned that the greatest danger that was out there. So when you start looking this up, is that it posed not a physical invasion, but an invasion of the mind. And you remember when we started this thing, your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. It's because with truth versus authority, we know it's in the mind. And we know how important those things are when it comes down to it. And so now it's no longer just the authority of somebody else in some position that's not telling the truth. It's how they play with our minds. And if our minds believe it, then oftentimes we think or we know what we think, right? And when it comes down to this. So the spiritual, or should I say they described as a, I would say psycho-spiritual parasites is what it would be. And yeah, okay, archons in the Bible or principalities. Yeah, okay, we're gonna get deep into that. So yeah, and their primary tool for controlling humanity is a religious ideology, particularly the salvationist doctrines of the Abrahamic or Abraham faith, or all of this kind of stuff that people have. And then, of course, you talking about the Gnostics, they also identified the wrathful, or what we would call the authoritarian God, which was of the Old Testament at the time. You got Yahweh, Jehovah, and the leader of the Archons, is the dominant imposter deity they call, I think it's Yaldabaoth or Yaldabaoth, and so look that up too, because that's important for the structure of where we're going in this conversation tonight. Now, this and then is the Gnostic account, okay? And so this is some of the things I've learned when I was reading. In fact, where I was reading from and where the show is coming from is some documents that's in here, all right, in the secret file. And so a few of you have a copy of this. So if you text me, the ones who have, you got my personal number, I'll tell you what to look for this whole file for this notes tonight that I ran into. So it's some great stuff, okay? And so you definitely want to check it out yourself and do that. All right, so basically the Gnostic account was like an ancient warning of a cosmic deception, an alien mindset implanted into our world that masquerades as the divine authority. Now, this is turning humanity against its own. Its innate creative potential was the goal, and this is how they was trying to do it. Wheat Smith said Gnostic and mystery schools are the same or different things. All right, we'll get into that. The Gnostic texts do not describe a simple physical threat, but a psychological threat is one of cosmic proportions. They paint a picture of what they call psycho-spiritual parasites. So remember that, psycho-spiritual parasites. And they're saying that these things, they operate subliminally, deviating human intelligence from its sane and proper course. Now, this concept also finds a powerful echo in the work of Carl Jung, which we talk about a lot of archetypes and stuff that hooks up to symbolism. Now, they also who describes, which Carl Jung, he'll describe the existence of these collective unconscious, right? And we know how all that framework connects, but it's also a shared psychic substrate containing universal inherited structures he called archetypes as well. Now, a little more on the archons, because this is going to get deep. So I want, again, I got my grammar box over here, my spelling box over there. So make sure you kind of add to it what you want. The archons in this framework are not merely internal beings. They function as autonomous, right? Invasive complex with the human psychic itself, which some can call it a glitch in the collective human spirit. Now, on a personal note, I've always thought of the unconscious as a deep, natural wellspring, a source of authentic dreams and symbols, right? This is why I have the Symbolizer brand. It could be, it could be dark at times, a place of shadows, but it's our darkness or our shadow. But the Gnostic texts propose something radically different. They suggest that there is a layer of artificially a foreign code running within our operating system. And it's not just a personal shadow, it's a collective virus. And most chilling part is that we mistake it as our own voice. Now, that is wild, right? That'll get you going once you think about it. But anyway, according to the Gnostic teaching, the mind virus operates by exploiting a fundamental human vulnerability, and which is our tendency to let errors go uncorrected, right? And unexamined, or what we would call it, or an uncorrected lie, and it begins to fester, right? And so we think about that, right? But the archonics, or I would call it archonic influence, these texts say that it extrapolates that the error beyond the scale of corrections until it becomes systematic, until it becomes evil. Now, the Shaman Don Juan and Carlos Castidius accounts. And remember, if you got the drive, text me and I'll let you know where this is all coming from, and you can go over the 200 pages or whatever. We're going to do it all this week, but I read a lot of it over the weekend, and I'm just like, man, there's some good stuff. So we're going to continue down the road. Now, the predators, he says, gave us their mind and our system of belief, our ideas of good and evil, our continuous, or what they call greed and cowardice. They are not entirely our own. They are a facet of an alien mind and installation, of course, they say, that makes us complacent, makes us, always follow routines, and also just kind of really just off the hinge most of the time. So this mental takeover is orchestrated through what the Gnostics call HAL, H-A-L, or simulation. So I want you to put that into your mind. Now, some of these texts even suggest that a major historical event intended to install entire belief systems was nothing more than a holographic inserts projected into reality. Now, David Icke talks about that a lot, which, I'm a true fan of his. I got every book he's written. I haven't read every book he's written, but I got every single book that he's written, all 20 or 15, 16 of them in there. And I like to just thumb through them and just turn to a page, because anywhere you turn, you're going to be blown away. But this holographic, insert is something that he talks about all the time. Now, the most controversial of these, according to some of the interpretation that we're talking about, is the crucifixion of Christ, which is a divine drama stage to create religion of salvation and dependency, is what they're saying. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff on religion and things that I wish everybody could have access to this stuff. But, we did ask for contributions and all that. And the ones who did, oh my God. So this is not for everybody, right? It's just not. But for the ones who got it, you're on top of the world with these 20,000 documents, 5,000 emails, not emails, but 5,000 videos and 20,000 books and audio files and all this stuff. I mean, it takes forever to go through this stuff. But when you start thinking about a holographic insert, the idea is staggering. Okay. It suggests a level of deception so profound that our very history could be a fabrication. And it isn't just about spinning a story. It's about projecting a reality. And it reframes, our most foundational myth, not as human attempts to understand the divine, but as an alien strategy to define the divine for us. Yeah, it's like these people weren't playing. This leads us to the ultimate control method, which is creating a false dichotomy when you start thinking about it, right? So now that should let you know where we're going, right? Because when you start thinking about it, it's a whole different story. So the archonic agenda thrives on division. And by creating and managing conflict, it distracts humanity from the true nature of its imprisonment, right? When it comes to this. Now, one of the primary false parts of this is engineered war between institutional religion and dogmatic materialism. Now, we see that happening today. And one of these branches promotes a belief in the external. And when you talk about authoritarian Father God who demands faith and obedience. Okay, I know I'm fit to go deep now. The other promotes a belief in a dead, meaningless universe where only matter is real. So think about that for a minute. Where I'm going is saying that it is possible, and Jordan Maxwell said this on many occasions, that somehow these elites, archons, or whatever, have the majority of the world looking this way for salvation, when they look that way for where they know the truth is. And one of their tactics is hide the knowledge. And it's hard to imagine, and not that God doesn't exist, because we know he does, or within the whole structure, right? But what they're saying is it's a possibility that someone said we need to learn how to control the masses because they outnumber us. What can we instill to them that can control them? They can't see it. They can't talk to it literally, so to speak. They can't touch it. They can't whatever. Let's put in this story of the way they want us to interpret the story of God. I'm just saying, not that God doesn't exist, but the story. And this story is going to wreak of havoc and fear that's going to control them, because they're going to feel that they're being watched at all times. It's kind of like a movie Congo I was watching, a great movie. They was taking a gorilla back to whatever. And when they went into the cave, all these hieroglyphs was everywhere. And when they decipher, it says that we are watching you. So imagine, do we walk around feeling that we are being watched all the time? And that could be a total great, control mechanism. And then all of a sudden we have these false things. But anyway, let me kind of get deeper. And we see this playing out everywhere. The endless culture where this happens all the time, or wars and all that. The screaming matches between faith and science. We've seen that before. Each side claiming absolute truth. We already know science and faith do not work together. They just don't. And it's just kind of one of those things. You also have, all right, we have a super sticker from Lizzie. Y'all give Lizzie Lou. Let me see if I got my clappers here, because we love that. All right. We got a super sticker, and yeah, thank you. Because, we got a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about. But anyway, let me get back on my outline. Thank you, Liz. It's just my whole outline went out the window. Anyway, by both sides, science and religion, claiming the truth, one of the things it's going to generate is a lot of noise, number one, and it's going to generate a lot of outrage and a lot of energy. And remember, Loosh is the key, right? Yeah, I remember that. We talked about that. Loosh is the key, and we can do that, all right? Now, who benefits from the conflict itself? When we think about it, the Gnostics had an answer. And while we argue about which side of the cage is the right one, we fail to see the bars of the cage itself. And the Archons, they tell us, built the cage, okay? So let's get into a little bit about this. The architect of this cosmic prison is the leader of the Archons, a figure of Gnostics called Yaldabaoth. Have you ever heard of that? Yaldabaoth, right? Is Yadabaoth. Now, my spelling is okay. This pronunciation can get pretty bad. But Yaldabaoth, if you've heard of that, right? He is described as a monstrous hybrid. He's a lion-headed serpent, right? In our mythical lexicon, the serpent is a dualistic or a dualistic symbol when it comes down to this, right? Now, the serpent represents both wisdom and poison, healing and death. And we already know that. I read a lot now, and I'm going over some of the stuff right now when it comes to reptilians. And of course, this is a good book, the serpents, right? And so, I study a lot of that. You all know that. And it's something, one of our conversations that we will continue to go. Now, the lion is a classic solar symbol, an archetype of kingship, authority, and radiant. Yaldabaoth, therefore is the living symbol of corrupted authority. He is a counterfeit sun, a false light when you start thinking about it. He's blind to the truth of what we would consider divine source from which his own energy was accidentally derived from. And it is his ignorance and arrogance and all of this that he declares, it is I who am God, right? And that is one of the things that he says. It is I who am God. And there is no other power apart from me. That's what I remember reading, right? He said, it is I who am God, and there is no other power apart from me. Now, the Gnostics explicitly identified this to merge with Yahweh, okay, the God of the Old Testament, pointing to his jealousy and his demands for absolute obedience. His act of genocide is proof of his archonic rather than the divine nature. Because if you go back to it, the same God that loves us is the same one that, in the stories, did the great deluge and whatever, and just wiped out everybody. But he loves us, right? And that particular one that they're talking about is what I'm saying. So the Gnostics wasn't just arguing theology. They were making a psychological diagnosis of the ruling archetype of the Western civilization. But it gets even darker. This wasn't just a psychological power trip for the Archon. There was a purpose, what I would call a need when it comes down to this. And so we're going to talk about next the text of Castaneda and the Gnostics' coverage on the terrifying motive when we do that. Before we do that, let me go into one of the things I wanted to share with you. I have, if you all had noticed by now, and I posted this, I started a new YouTube channel. It's just video uploads. They're only about 3 minutes each. I encourage each and one of you to watch, and I wish that each one of you will go subscribe so we can get to our first 1,000 subscribers. And I posted up 3 videos. But it's all about the symbolism of what we're talking about in life and everything else. And I'll just give you a quick clip of some of the intros of those videos real quick.
You may not believe it, but this is not a pond. A simple body of water, maybe a home for ducks. You may not believe it, but this is not a yellow flower. It looks like one. A simple splash of color, a common weed, but it's a duck. Look at this. You may not believe it, but this is not a tree. It looks like one. The wood, the bark, we're talking about the leaves. You may not believe it, but this is not a park bench. It looks like one. Metal, iron, a simple place to rest. I want to, give the audience a different perspective on symbolism. That everything from the trees to the ducks, the water, the leaves, everything has a symbolic meaning. And hopefully that you will share these videos with people. Enjoy them for yourself. Like the channel and subscribe. This is not a thing. Brought to you by Roderick Martin, aka the Symbolizer.
All right, so I know some of you have already seen some of those videos. I have 400 of them I'm putting up. This is not a pen, it's your whatever. This is not a phone, this is not, because it's all about everything that we see in life is symbols and symbolism. But I'm going to give you a new perspective on life. These things are going to go really big and everything else because I spent a lot of time studying this, and I keep my little same format. And they're on but 3 minutes, 3 minutes chunk of wisdom, knowledge, esoteric knowledge, and vision to help your life get rid of all this constant negativity. And if you've already went there and saw some of these videos and everything, then it's pretty much let me know. So put the YouTube link in the chat. Okay, I'll do that now, and hopefully some of you will subscribe to it and everything else. And it's already up. And like I said, I have 400 of these videos that I'm going to put up over time. I already got everything out the way I want it, and it is great. So we're going to get back into the story. But if you've seen them already, put a chat up there. Look at that, man. My man right there. He just said it, man. He says that's not a YouTube channel. It's a temple of initiation. Let me tell you, I go deep, real short, real quick. And like I said, I need you to subscribe because we need to get YouTube to start pushing out those videos. And oh shucks, I put the other one here. We can do that. So let me continue with our stories and everything else. So, all right. So there it is right there. Y'all subscribe, check them out. I recommend this video 6 minutes after posting. I watched it. I didn't realize it was from another channel. I just subscribed. Okay. So look, see, she saw it. Yeah. It's from a whole nother channel called This Is Not a Theme, the Owl Sees. All right. So let's get back down to the stories. And then we're going to talk about a few other things. And remember, this weekend, Saturday, we're having our meetup. Anyway, the text of the Castaneda and the Gnostic converge on a terrifying moment, or what I call the motive of it all. See, the Archons are parasites that feed, and their substance is human emotional energy. We talk about it. So you already should know who the Archons are, right? Or who they specifically are. And specifically, the energy released through fear, rage, and suffering. We're not talking about adrenochrome that these other folks do. All right. Don Juan states that the predators consume what he called the glowing coat of awareness that surrounds human beings, or some people say our aura fields or whatever, leaving only a narrow fringe at the level of the toes. Man, and this is to provoke the harvest that they give us called inane problems that force those flares of awareness to rise. Now, our anxieties, people talk about our conflict, our ceaseless dramas, they are not just human failings, they are a food source. So you can imagine with this last traumatic thing that happened with the Kirk, right? How much conflict and negativity on both sides of the fence did this thing create just for that? You know, and just knowing that there's people out there, they said we need to raise and heighten this energy. Now, once again, this is the final brutal piece of this pattern that I'm going to talk about here. It reframes all of the human tragedy that I'm just speaking about. Our suffering is not just a byproduct of existence, it's a commodity. Our wars, our divisions, our collective despair, they are harvest. All right. And as Don Juan said, we are beings reared in humorous human forms. It was in the movie The Matrix. Some of you mentioned The Matrix earlier and all those things. And pretty much, all right, we got a couple of subscribes there. Denisha subscribed to the new channel. And who else said they subscribed? Him subscribe, Denisha subscribe. So thank y'all for subscribing to the new channel. Make sure you watch those videos all the way through. It'll give the algorithm a name of 3 minutes each, right? But it'll let the algorithm know we mean business. And I got 4 more already ready. I'll start loading 3 of them next week, and I'll just keep doing 3 a week over there, and just really cool. I love it. But anyway, Don Juan said that we are being reared as human forms. It's the most monstrous idea that I've, and I can't say I've encountered, but I've been through this a few times. And the most terrifying part is how much it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, people. Once it comes to it, John said he subscribed, Diana subscribed. Thank y'all. And so James said, it seems like humans look like us, has no soul. Probably so. I mean, it's one of those things. Now, once again, it's a perfect story, almost too perfect when you think about it. A grand, unified conspiracy theory that explains everything. Secret alien rulers, a mind virus, and harvest of our emotional energy. It ties together history, religion, psychology, and the UFO phenomena into one neat, terrifying narrative. And it answers every question. And that's exactly what makes sometimes me get suspicious of all this stuff, right? When it comes down to it. When we answer, is that complete? Then that it's all encompassing, you have to ask, is this the truth then? Or is it simply the story you need to hear? Is it genuine revelation? Or is it the most sophisticated trap of them all? So that's always something that we want to think about it in pretty much. All right. Monica says she subscribed to, Jerez did too. John, of course, I appreciate it. All right. So the Gnostic texts themselves are filled with warnings about seductive power of deception, if you remember. And one of the Gnostic masters is quoted saying, and it goes a little something like, he was like, the Archons devised a plan about me. This is what he had said. I was reading in the book. And he was like, to release their error, their obscurity, when it comes down to this. Now, the text went on to say on a note that the path to men's belief is through confusion and absurdity, right? And the Archon's greatest trick is dissimulation. David Icke talks about that. A lot of people talked about. He said that they make things appear happen that do not actually happen. Now, when this last thing happened with Kirk, there was a lot of videos out showing, oh, maybe it's just fake. This thing moved on the chest. You know, did this really happen? All of this stuff. So again, the mind is playing tricks, right? But also they are, he's saying, in their essence, ultimate hoaxes when it comes down to what we're seeing. So I'm thinking, all right, there's something we can do that. We said he subscribed, appreciate it. So here's the turn. Here's the reversal that forces us to question everything we just laid out. What if the entire story of the Archons, these specific external reptilian and gray alien beings, is itself an archonic deception? A story so compelling, so mythical, perfect, that it distracts us from the real source of the problem. And what if, in discovering and fighting this phantom enemy, we are acting out a script by a very force we seek to expose? You know, we talk about the reptilians here, the reptilian agenda all the time, shapeshifters, or if you want to say that. And we become so focused on the alien, the other, that we fail to look at the alien within, the one that's within the earth, the one that could be part of this holographic stuff, right? And we can do that. All right, so TK says welcome, and y'all give TK a shout out because we have sponsors for our event. We have vendor tables, and TK and I, and of course she put the magic on it. Y'all give her a shout out because we have 4 vendors. It's going to be at our event Saturday. We have a new, event sponsors. We got 3 actually, and so one of them I'll talk about just here in a little bit. And it's Phoenix Fire, and believe me, the website and the products and stuff is off the chart. And these are people who we're going to support them that support us. And as well, so y'all give TK as well a shout out for her hard work in assisting and living in the game winning shots on that. All right, so Gnostic scholar John Lash outlines 3 levels of understanding the Archons. Okay, so this is what I want you to learn. The first one is kind of like cosmological, right? Which is an alien species. This is the level. The second one is psychological, and this is be like a parasite intrusion into the human mind. But that third level is sociological. Now, in this view, the Archons are alien forces that act through human authoritarian systems, and the texts are clear. Because the Archons need human complicity to gain over power of humankind. And one who assists them can be considered a kind of Archon and an accessory. And Blade called them familiars in the movie, right? So we have, that's what's happening today. So humans that assist them by accepting their mental programs and enforcing them into society. Those are the ones who are, Blade says they are familiars when it comes down to that. James said they're working together for humanity in mind. Yeah, they really are. And it's one of those things that they do. But I would say this is the moment that the narrative kind of changed a little bit. And maybe the Archons aren't a species from a planetary system. and maybe the archons is the Gnostic name for the shadow of humanity itself. Okay, we can go there. And the cold reptilian instinctual part of our own brain. Remember, we got a reptilian brain, all of us. But the parts that craves control builds hierarchies that fears the unknown, right? And clings to the rigid, repetitive dogma. Now, the Gnostics said that archons are agents of error, and that the human error, when it goes uncorrected, turns into evil. And it's not an alien invasion, it's a crisis of human self-awareness, and we are the ones who built the institutions, is what they're saying. Now, we are the ones who enforce the dogma as well. We are the ones who turns on each other as well. And perhaps we are the host, and the virus is simply our own integrated darkness when it comes down to this. That's just give you an inverted side of that, but you know where I stand. Now, this ambiguity is woven into the very fabric of Gnostic mythos. The archons are not just presented as a simple eternal enemy. The first apocalypse of the James contains cataclysms and a set of instructions for the soul to use when confronted by the archons after death. Remember, the initiate is taught to say of the archons that they are not entirely alien, for they are from falling Sophia. Sophia is something I ran across in these drives. And like I said, you guys need to really, yeah, that's the address there. We're in Dallas, Texas, 1233 Newport Drive is where we are. I may have a little more room for a couple of more people. Email me at contact@whythebigsecret.com. Yeah, you know, you have to get you one of these, and they're a little small investment, but you will have everything in the world that you need to know. If the world started over, you will have everything in the world that you needed to know. Okay, how about that? Another Noah's Ark, right? Now, we're talking about Sophia, who produced them, right? Who made these archons, or fallen angels, people should say. So they're not entirely alien, but they are our kin, supposedly. They are our kin, our cosmic cousins, the aborted, malformed branch of our own family tree, born from the same cosmic mother. This single idea shatters the simple narrative of us versus them. It's no longer a story of good versus evil, humans versus aliens. It's a familiar tragedy. It suggests that the archonic presence is not a hostile takeover, but a profound and intimate balance within the very heart of creation. All right. It is a shadow cast by our own light that we can't escape. There's another one. And we can only seek to understand it by understanding it, perhaps begin to heal the fractures of ourselves. You know, this is where the trauma comes in. Now, we can also give what I call the Gnostic worldview, which present a whole new challenge. Whether the archons are taken as a literal alien species operating from the shadows of the solar system, or as a powerful metaphor for the collective, an unintegrated shadow of human psyche. The diagnosis remains the same. Humanity is under the influence of a foreign, artificial intelligence that deviates from its true evolutionary course. And we're talking parasitic, we're talking entities, right? We're not talking about no, AI. The Gnostics insisted that this force operates through deception and creating a simulated reality. David Icke talks about it, as I reiterate on that, and a counterfeit of authentic world born from the goddess Sophia, the living intelligence of the earth. Yeah, I just started reading more about Sophia. I've heard a lot of stuff, but it's starting to, like, again, we may be looking in the wrong directions of stuff. And it's a very reason why they're doing that, and that's probably what it is. It's something, weird there. So if you hadn't liked this video tonight, make sure you like it and everything else. And of course, again, in the description is the text to the link to the new video as well, the channel, I should say, that Dr. Strange says an initiation. So we arrive at the great question here. Does it matter? Does it matter if the prison is built on alien technology or our own psychological blind spots? A cage is still a cage, you know, feeling of the being trapped or being fed a script or living a simulated life that is real, tangible experience for millions of people in our world. Now, the Gnostic map, whether we read it as literal cosmology or symbolic psychology, gives us a language for the experience. Now, I can't remember right offhand, and I guess I could look and see, but there, and I wrote it down in my notes. So let me see if I have it. It's real interesting too. When we come to this, yeah, let me see. There was a scripture that was kind of told by both sides. One was the original version, and the other one I'm thinking was in the, I think more of the King James version or whatever. I know I wrote my notes on my tablet here, and let me see if I have it for us to go over, because I think it's worth noting when we start talking about questioning everything. And it makes a lot of sense when it comes down to this. All right, so yeah, all right. So I want you to remember this, and I'm gonna read it from my notes, okay? Because I don't know this by heart. For example, in the King James, because they was talking about how they manipulate this stuff, and again, this whole thing was in my notes in here. So I'm pumping it now. I'm gonna let a few more people get a hold to the drive. Y'all email me, contact@wilderbigsecret.com. But anyway, in Ephesians 6:12, in the King James version of the Bible, used as a basis for modern translation, stipulates this: for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and against powers, against the rulers of darkness of the world, and against spiritual wickedness in high places. Now, I don't know if everybody interpretate what that means, but I did go back and I found the uncensored translation from Greek. And it's kind of polarizing. One is telling the truth, and the other one is kind of blinding the truth a little bit. So it said that in the Greek uncensored translation version said, so once again, let me read the King James. So you heard the different, I'll slide right into it. It says, for we wrestle not with flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. That's what we grew up on. But the uncensored translation from Greek says, for our struggle is not against human beings, but against the rulers, against the powers, against the world forces of darkness, against spiritual dark forces of wickedness in outer space. In outer space. So that meant that our ancestors knew aliens exist and been knowing it. Because if you go back, there's a painting back in the 1800s that showed Jesus in a manger in 1800s, 1500 BC. It was two of them. And they had an alien, a UFO, in the top of the picture with lights beaming down, one of them on Mary's head. This was way back in the 1600s. So it started to add up that if that's the case, then they already been knowing that we have these space invaders and how there are archons and the fallen angels and all this stuff. And so they change it up a little bit to make us not believe it. And it goes part of disclosure today, why we have, I think, all of this alien disclosure. And so it's one of those things. So I'm going to say it again. You know, at the end of the translation in Greek, wickednesses of outer space, and ours says wickedness in higher places. All right, kind of sound the same, but they changed it up a lot because they don't want you to know that something's coming from outer space. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But it also gives us a name for the warden, the archon. And it tells us that the warden's power is a bluff. Now, the Gnostic text describe the archonic world as being marked by imitation, mindless repetition, and a lack of genuine creativity. Now, the archons lacking enoia cannot originate. They can only copy. They build systems or hierarchies and ideologies that are rigid and self-perpetuating, right? But their influence is seen as authoritarian structures in the simple that deny authenticity and also self-determination to the individuals. So, however, or therefore, in the modern context, the archonic signature can be recognized in the soulless sprawl of our cities, in the hypnotic repetitions of consumer culture, and the polarizing algorithms of social media, and the form of outrage for engagement. You get what I'm saying? So what we are now taking as normal seems to be, it seems to be that there is a plan. All right. Monica says Sophia is the mother. Yeah, I'm just learning a lot more about Sophia. Like I said, I went through this drive and gee, there's some deep stuff in here. Dr. Strange, you got a copy, a couple of you do, so I'll tell you what to go look for. But it's crazy when you think about our world, because we live in a world that mirrors the archonic mind. We scroll through digital feeds designed to provoke fear and anger. Because of raw emotional energy, it's like a potent food source for them. And we chase these trends that are imitations or just imitations and imitations almost. And we consent to the economic systems that the threat is a living planet. But Sophia, that I've learned, as a dead resource to be plundered, ignoring her wisdom in favor of empty logic. The Noctis warn that the archons are envious of divine spark, our connection to the living world. Now, if you start looking at our civilization, it is truly creating from that spark, or just endlessly, I would say, remixing the dead end code when we think about this, okay? So the Gnostic path to liberation was not through faith in internal savior. Remember this. It was a concept that they veered as the ultimate archonic deception. Designed, it was, I think it was more or less designed to be, okay. I think it was more or less designed to, I don't know. I will say that the concept was a little different. And it made things seem a way like a dead end code when we think about it. Neutrino Wave says that Sophia is wisdom, all right? And that's fine. And we will continue to go through that. Now, like I said, the Gnostic path to liberation was not faith in an external savior. Right? It was a concept that they viewed as ultimate archonic deception that was designed to ensure humanity's perpetual dependence. And the path was Gnosis, right? Or, in direct inner knowing was the whole point, right? The text teaches that every human being carries a fragment of the divine light of Sophia. Like I said, I'm just starting to read all this. I thought it was interesting to talk about. A seed of consciousness that the archons do not possess and cannot extinguish. This is supposedly, this light of Sophia, divine light, is supposed to be our sovereign power of intelligence, our inalienable birthright. It's supposed to be our birthright, this divine light from Sophia. And like they said, it's Like they don't want us to learn that. They don't want us to know that this stuff comes from outer space. So disclosure happens, a form of religion happens, and began changing the text. We already know the good book has been revised. And if it's the word is the word, and the word is the word, why would it be revised? Now, this is the core of this entire message that I'm getting to. The authority of the archons is an illusion. The power is not a force to be fought, but a lie to be seen through. See, our freedom is not won on the battlefield against some reptilian overlord. It's won in the quiet, sovereign space of our own consciousness. And we're not slaves in the alien experiment either, right? We're not sinners in the need of redemption. That's what they're saying, right? That's how we're supposed to live our life. We're living fragments of a cosmic intelligence of the planet itself. And of course, that means our liberation does not come from fighting shadows. It comes from remembering our own light. That's important for us to know. And every act of genuine creativity, every moment of authentic empathy, every thought born from inner stillness instead of programmed reaction is an act of rebellion. This is why we do what we do. This is exactly why we do what we do. And to be an artist, to be a lover, to be a seeker of truth, this is how we starve those parasites. We break the spell. We talk about that a lot. We break the spell not by destroying the simulation, but creating a reality so authentic, so vibrant, so true to our soul's nature that the counterfeit world simply becomes irrelevant. And that's really important for people to understand this. So I think we've journeyed into the darkness corners of hidden cosmology, right? We have confronted, I will say, a terrifying possibility about the nature of our reality, our history, and the very thoughts we think. This knowledge is not easy. It's designed to unsettle, to deconstruct, to challenge the foundations of what we believe to be true. But we don't walk this path to fall into despair, right? We walk it to wake up. We're not a scattered collection of isolated individuals staring at screens. We're a community of seekers. And what some of our sources call a family of light is what we're doing. We're coming together to reclaim our story and liberate our minds. And it's important to know that is why it leads me into two things, as I should say, that I would say here. First of all, y'all give a shout out to Phoenix Fire. The website is phoenixfire.juju. I'll put that in the description of the chat. But you can Google it, phoenixfirejuju.com. And they promote better health and wellness for bath and beauty. They got a ton of products on this website. And they're located here in Dallas area. And they're also one of the sponsors of our Dallas Conspiracy Conscious meetups. So, man, y'all give a thankful. And like I say, we will support this website. It is Phoenix Fire Juju. Let me see if I can put it in the chat for you all to know. And y'all make sure y'all support them because they support us. And we want to support them. So let me see if I can put this in the chat of their website. And let me see. Yeah, there we go. So anyway, when you get an opportunity, check out the website. They're one of our sponsors. A lot of good products. Man, a lot of great products. And you should check them out. Check out their whole entire website where you can shop. But anyway, they're one of our sponsors. And y'all give TK a shout out for that as well. And we have a couple more we would mention. They have a whole plethora of products, okay? And so anyway, we're going to support them, and we will be doing that. So let me All right. So anyway, I just want you to know. So they got some amazing products, but you're gonna hear more about them all month long because they're one of our sponsors. But also, we're gonna have 4 vendors at the event, and we're gonna have food from a Cajun person. Now, if you're gonna come to the event, we got pre-register of the food. We're gonna bring plenty, but I need to know, and we're gonna have donations for the place. Okay, so $15 in advance. Well, at least I can know these many people is gonna eat. So if you're on our text list, you should have that text. You can see it. My Cash App is there. You can cash out me the name and the $15. So I'll put you on a, we're gonna have Cajun pasta chicken and vegan, or an option for some vegan dirty rice, both with salads and drinks. And from 4:30 to 6, or until, we're just gonna sit around, still talk some more conspiracy, still talk some more consciousness while we're eating. And we're gonna do some great things there. So if you decide to come, you can do that. Now, also, if you want to shout out and help sponsor some of these events, or even give to us, because it does, we're putting on the cost, it's getting bigger, and it's free for everybody to come. They know that. Then I would love for you to, cash out a donation or whatever, and I'll give you a shout out for that if you can. And we also, last but not least, having our what I call a founder member program, and that is $50 contribution a month for us. But if you come in, it's going to give you your food. And then I'm going to make a special founder shirt every month, different colors, whatever, for the founder members. So when you're there at the event, you're going to be looking different. They're going to know who you are. And then there are going to be some VIP stuff too. Okay. So if you want to be a founder member, or maybe you can't come, but you can be a founding member. And then you may want to donate your food to somebody, and maybe do that. I may say, okay, we got 5 free meals donated by these 5 people. And then I'll just ship you your monthly shirt to you. Right. But we're trying to get a few people to do that. Then that way we start bringing in guests and everything there too. So hopefully some of this resonate with you all, and y'all do it. And, and we will continue. So anyway, Phoenix Fire. So y'all make sure y'all check that out. All right. So let me continue our story. We're talking about fragment of light. Now, our work then, again, it's not to fight the war in the heavens against these overlords, is to cultivate our own culture, our consciousness, and everything else. This is why we are. So we know that every single day, every single thought, we are here to remember what it means to be truly human in the world pressures that's used to become machines, right? And we are here to defy the counterfeit spirit by embodying the real one. So my main thing is saying the choice is yours. You could dismiss all of this as a strange ancient fairy tale. You can label it a conspiracy and file it away. Or the archonic mind program inside of you will encourage this. It will whisper that this is foolishness and that it's dangerous, that it's more comfortable to go back to sleep, right? Don't wake up. Or you can begin to listen, not just to the noise of the world, but to the signals beneath, right? And we know what's underneath us, right? And the next time that voice doubt the current of fear, or the wave of self-hatred flickers through your mind, then don't believe it. Don't believe it, Bernard. Don't fight it. Just observe it, and then simply question, is this thought truly mine? Because that's what it is. And does it serve my growth, my creativity, my connection to life? Or does it serve the parasites? Does it feed the machine that thrives on my despair? See, because the Gnostics taught that the Archons cannot stay up to direct conscious human attention. This is why we focus a lot on energies, why we have our malas. And speaking of malas, those of you who do buy a ticket for meals and all that, I'm bringing a special mala that have never been worn. You're going to be able to charge it yourself. And we're going to pull tickets from the people who support us, whether you bought a shirt, meal, or whatever it is. We're going to pull a ticket. So we're just trying to make sure we raise, we want to continue this every month, and we plan on doing it, right? We're building toward that. So again, If you just want to be a notable contributor to it, then I will shout you out. And there it is there. So let me see. Anybody maybe just helping us out, showing some love. All right. Well, no love tonight. That's all right. I still love y'all though. I'm always love you. You know that. But anyway, so the Gnostics taught that the archons cannot stand up to direct conscious human attention, but your awareness is the light that dissolves the shadows. And your sovereignty is the one thing that cannot simulate, right? And you're not a pawn in a game. You are the board, the player, and the power to begin a new game entirely. It's up to you. And the whole thing is know thyself. The rest is commentary. That's how it is. And pretty much. So just know the rest is just commentary. And so anyway, here it is right here. Get on our text list. September the 20th. We have a full schedule, sound. We got a couple of speakers, vendors, and I'm going to be speaking some conspiracy, some reptilians. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff for a few hours, man. We're going to be really bringing in the juice. Also, if you go to our uncensored Patreon, we're now back in there doing some live, uploading some stuff. So, I know a few of you were there, and so come back to us. We got a lot of stuff we're doing there, and, get the uncensored, because you're going to see some stuff this week too. It's going to blow your mind when that happens. And so we're just, man, I'm excited for everything that we are doing. You know what I'm saying? Every single thing that we're doing, I'm excited. 100%. And so, again, to get a few of you. So let's do a little commentary that I think is worth, conversating about, I should say. And one in particular, what we talked about tonight is that let's be clear about what this truly means. The nagging voice of self-sabotage you've been taught to call your own probably is a foreign signal, a parasitic broadcast that some could consider as nesting in your psychic when it comes to this. Now, the real war isn't out there. It's within. I've already said it. And the core tension in the fight for your territory of the mind. Everybody wants the mind. And it appears to be our minds is the most powerful thing when it comes down to this. All right. A battle between authentic human soul and the cold, imitative mind controls that feel like your despair. It's something that you want to look at. It's not a negotiation with my own neurosis, and all this kind of stuff that we will say, if I pronounce it right, but it's the direct assault on sovereignty when you think about it. I see them attempting to seize control of the mechanisms of thought. Why not? They're all saying they're trying to do it, convincing us that artificially induced fear is our natural state. Now, you got to remember, we're talking about reptilians, archons, and demonic stuff. We're not talking about, a computer system here. Real entities that are really doing some stuff, okay? So it's something worth to understand it. Now, my reaction to discovery ain't shock or fear, at all. It's a profound sense of clarity, followed by a cold, righteous, kind of an angry part of sheer scale of psychological theft. Like, damn, they're trying to mess with our minds, and that just makes you unmad when you think about it. Now, I would say the whole game changed when I realized my own uncorrected mistakes and the unexamined lies, if I ever told any, were very entry points to their influence and the cracks to the psychic through where the virus enters. You know what I'm saying? He said, if I was a real doctor, I would give more. All right. Well, you mean like more? Let's pretend that Dr. Strange is a doctor and somebody give on his behalf. Yeah. So there it is. The Cash App is on the screen. If you want to just help us out for our meetup groups and stuff, or whatever. If you want to feed someone, you can donate and then just say give a meal to somebody, so I'll write it down in your name. So $15. We'll pre-order. We'll feed someone. So if you want to say, here's a donation, here's $15, give it to somebody, and then I'll call it out. Say such and such has it for a person or whatever. We can do that. But anyway, the other part of what I want to get into a little bit is, I will say that the one action that exposes this entire operation is they define the living earth as a dead resource to be plundered, and our emotional suffering is a literary commodity to be consumed. And that makes you wonder, because everything changed when I realized that our wars, when I think about our divisions, our collective despair was not just a tragic accident of history, but it was an engineered output of planetary form. I mean, these people are actually doing this on purpose. There's a few things. And now that I see their true purpose with absolutely clarity now, I can say that their ideologies and systems are nothing but a sophisticated feeding tubes that are designed to drain our world into vitality, or our souls into innate light. So they're after that. All right, so we have a super sticker there. All right, so we have two. So good. We have two contributors tonight: $5 super sticker and a $1.99 super sticker. All right. Okay, so I wonder if my Cash App works. It's not working. It used to look like, say, ching or something. Gee, it's quiet. Maybe it's not broken. Maybe it's just not happening. All right, well, anyway, it seems broken. Man. All right, maybe it's broken then. Okay, well, that's cool. We'll keep going. All right, so anyway, so neutrino waves, super sticker. So we have that going for us. And any other questions tonight? Anybody, what do some of you know about Sophia? Like I said, I'm learning a little bit. But put it in the chat. Let me know what your thoughts are. When it comes down to Sophia, let me know. What are we looking at? And let me know what we're looking at. And then we could see about, all of that. Yeah. Anyone in particular? Can let me know. What we know about that. Anyone? Sophia is not just a normal knowledge. It's like divine wisdom. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about Sophia in our drive. So, like I said, I'm learning a lot of that right now. And it is pretty interesting. So, I'm excited to, covering a lot of that information. So, it is very intuitive information. Yeah, it was a great show. Appreciate it. And once again, if you have not subscribed to the new channel, I'll show it again, and then we'll get ready to get out of here for tonight. And then tomorrow, we will go to seat is uncomfortable. Tomorrow we'll be on Forbidden Knowledge. Okay, we'll be on Forbidden Knowledge, and yeah. So what I'm going to do is, let me see if I have what I can find. So two things. Let me see if I have what I'm looking for. Okay, I guess I can retype it. All right, so I'm going to retype it here. And the quicker that we get to 1,000 subscribers in the videos being watched, we will do some great things, okay? And let me make sure the ALSES. All right. So that is our link right there on the screen.com, the ALSES. And again, it is my new channel. So I'll play another clip of the videos so you can understand what it's all about.
You may not believe it, but this is not a pond. A simple body of water, maybe a home for ducks. You may not believe it, but this is not a yellow flower. It looks like one. A simple splash of color, a common weed, but it's a duck. Look at this. You may not believe it, but this is not a tree. It looks like one. The wood, the bark, we're talking about the leaves. You may not believe it, but this is not a park bench. It looks like one. Metal, iron, a simple place to rest. I want to, give the audience a different perspective on symbolism. That everything from the trees to the ducks, the water, the leaves, everything has a symbolic meaning. And hopefully that you will share these videos with people. Enjoy them for yourself. Like the channel and subscribe. This is not a thing. Brought to you by Roderick Martin, aka the Symbolizer.
All right, I'm really excited about this new channel. I even have a story for you. I have one that I'm working on right now, and it says, this is not a pen. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I have 400 of them. This is not this. And I'm going to go around, and I'm going to break down a different perspective that you're going to see life so different and be initiated into a new higher learning. That is my calling. It's really my calling. And I feel that it's going to be my Mona Lisa, but I need y'all help. I need y'all to share the videos because it's shareable other than what we do here, right? And at just 3 minutes, you can just watch one every day and get some motivation. Just 3 minutes each, maybe 3 minutes and 20 seconds, but none of them over 3 minutes and 30 seconds. But they're so powerful, and I have so many that I'm doing, and I'm just enjoying it. And I would love for everybody to get to it and anything else. So if you have an opportunity, I'm gonna put it up on the screen right there. And also, I think I put the link in the chat while ago as well, so you can click on it. And do I have PayPal? Absolutely. See it right there, PayPal, contact at Why the Big Secret. And give a shout out to, we have a donation for food. So Leander Pringle, we're going to donate a meal in advance. When I tell some people if they say they can't eat and they want to eat, I'm going to say, well, Leander has donated to $15. Love you. And we will make sure. And I'll either probably make sure I remember, or Maya will make sure, too, she's there, that we take a picture, whoever took that donation. And then we'll bring it back on the screen on Monday and say, Leander, this is who you fed. Okay. So if any of you want to do that, that's the cash out right there. And then also the PayPal. Yes, whythebigsecret.com is the PayPal. It's going across the screen, Kim. Contact at whythebigsecret.com is our PayPal. So we, like I say, accept it all. So remember, Maya, we have Leander. So just make a note for me. And then when we get time for the food and somebody want to eat, and if they don't, we'll say, don't worry about it. Leander is paying for you today, or have blessed you. And then we're going to take a picture and we'll put it up. So if you want, and you have a heart for this, because I'm sure there'll be some people there, because sometimes people come out from outside, and that you can bless someone as well. But it helps us, as we cover cost to do what we're doing from that lovely place that TK now has helped us with, and in her church and everything else. And so, also, just to make sure, let me see if I still got my picture. All right, so this is their pantry. Okay, this is the pantry for TK. She said, ask them if it's okay first, if they can want to eat it. But we already got some school supplies on that shelf. TK, I put the full address in the chat, the whole full address, the name, where to send it to. But go to Amazon, just pick something. I don't care what it is. Then I want you guys put your name on it, and then from Truth versus Authority community underline, so they know where it's coming from, but you. And send, we want to feel, because they really represent the community. I ate with them on Wednesday. They just feed anybody who comes in. But we want to fill up this pantry. So if we can get TK to put the full name and address up, and I'll put it on the screen, go to Amazon and just send them something. It could be a bag of sugar. It could be one shoe, and then somebody else send another shoe. Then we got 2 shoes. But just make sure they match in size and color. We can do that. And let's support them. Maya said she got a lot of stuff she's going to bring. So I appreciate that as well. And so that's going to be thoughtful. All right. The godmother of the channel have sent a support for the new channel or congratulations and stuff. So y'all give a shout out to Diana, our godmother of the channel. And that is a prestigious recognition, because she's been here from day one, from 3 years ago when I started. 3 years ago when I started. All right, so we have Kim. So is that for we're gonna do that and feed someone, Kim, in your name? Let me know. What are we doing? Yeah, so we just got that from Kim. And all right, so Kim, she said, I can't make it this meeting, but I'll see you guys next month. Yeah, we'll be there next month. And all right, so there it is. I'm gonna put it on the screen, and I'm gonna put the picture back up. We want to fill this pantry, make it sent to TK. But that's the Church of the Cliff, actually, and that's the address. But put your name and then put under, the second name, Truth versus Authority community, so they know it's coming from us. And we want to fill these shelves up. We want them to go out and buy a new shelf, because they have so much stuff. And then if you want to mail something from the house, just mail from the house. There you go. Whatever you got, whatever you can give. They do some great community work. And screenshot this so I can take it down, but you got the address there, and let's fill this thing up. And I'll know about it, and then we will just give a shout out to everyone, because I love our community. We're doing some great stuff. All right. So Kim says we're gonna feed someone. So listen, we have Leanda, Maya, and we have Kim. So we got 2 people that is going to, and we'll do that at feeding time if we notice somebody is not buying, but they are hungry. And we'll whisper in their ear, and then we'll have a picture taken, and just say, and plus we'll ask them if they want to, right? We're not just going to do it, just let them know, but we'll let them know. And if they don't, we'll still let you know that your blessing has went to someone. Okay. And we'll definitely do that. So we have Kim and Leanda. Okay. And they both, and if you want also to bless some people, it's right there on the screen, the Cash App, $15 or whatever. And then it will be a little more, when we get there, but I'm just trying to make sure I tell her enough to prepare for what we do know is going to eat. And then we'll have a little extra to offer stragglers who might want to buy and fellowship with us, sit down, enjoy some conversation and some great stuff too. We're going to be doing that. So if you don't mind, when you go to the new channel, watch it and make your comments, like them, and comment, what you think of each video, because I need your inspiration, because right now it's you all who supporting it until YouTube turns on the algorithm, which could be a month from now, whenever, and then it'll start serving the videos. But please go ahead and post some things. Dr. Strange has posted some stuff already, a few people, and I really think about all of you. So we want to get our first 100 subscribers. We're probably 50 now since this morning. We can get 100, and then we'll move to 1,000. Once we get 1,000, we're smooth selling. And I'm just going to talk about it all week and everything else. Yeah, make sure y'all comment on the videos on the new channel. Please comment on those videos, please, because this is going to make a whole difference being a new channel. All right, TK said they did get the school supplies that we sent. Yeah, okay, cool. So just make sure y'all comment on those new videos because that's going to be imperative for the algorithm to begin to say, okay, we're going to put this thing out to do that. And let me know what y'all think. So we're going to be on Forbidden Knowledge at 8:00 tomorrow night, live. And we're going to do that. And once again, thank our sponsors, which we will see a lot more of them coming up from here on out, even throughout the month of what we're doing. Yeah, I love it, and then we got vendors. We got 4 vendors are going to be there Saturday, and then you all are going to be there. And if you're coming in the chat, say, yeah, I'm coming. And you can all come anytime. It's free. Just come on up and come. We have some people coming in out of Austin again, and people flying in out of other states and stuff. And we're going to talk it up this time for sure. I'm going to be speaking for a few hours too, giving y'all some stuff. And then we got a couple other speakers. We have sound tuning. Man, we're going to have a lot of fun Saturday, every third Saturday. And we can do that. Maya says she'll be there. And yeah, so we'll have Maya to get there as well. All right. So with that being said, it's been a plum pleasing pleasure, as well as a privilege of serving you tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight's show. We got plenty more to go, like say tomorrow, Tuesday night, and then we'll be in the Patreon again. We did some word magic this past Thursday. Also, make sure you subscribe to the Patreon, because starting tomorrow, I'm gonna do some daytime lives. I'll just click in and click out, and we may do a daytime show here too. But I'll just be saying some stuff in there and let you know what's going on in real time and really getting deep. So now that I have everything cleared, like I said, I had to kind of recenter and rethink through what we're going to be doing there. So again, get your membership there so you can get the uncensored stuff, the luminous stuff, and become a member, because it is going to be. And I've already made the promise. Now I just got to deliver it for you and let you know it's not going to be a place to be playing with, because we're going to talk some stuff. And that's just the way it rolls. All right. So with that being said, enough for all of that. Again, I do have one more announcement. All right. So we have the Books of Hidden Truth on our website. It is some hidden stuff, okay? And it's an ebook too. You can download it. And it is deep. It's really deep. It goes into a lot of stuff that you're not going to hear. We have the water codes where you can program your water. A lot of you know I'm doing that, and it works. It works off the tree of life. You should know that water is programmable. And so if you have not programmed the water, you can do so. You just print this up as much as you want, and then you sit the water on top of this, and the coding. This is energy. We have pure love. We have love and abundance codes, and you can download those, and you will feel, and make sure before you drink your water, put it on a glass, put it there, and everything else. That's why I tell people don't drink the water with liquid death and all that, because those words program the water. All right. And then we have our Book of Sacred Secrets. All that's back on our website. truthversusauthority.com. I had to change it to a .com. So it is truthversusauthority.com. All right. So make sure y'all go there, get your shirts and all that stuff. And once again, for the last time, if you want to be a founding member, let me know. Email me, text me, whatever. And let me see if we got any more donations for food. All right. So we just got Kim and Leanda. Thank you. And Diana for a contribution as well, our godmother of the channel. And I love each and every one of you guys. So I'll see you tomorrow on Forbidden Knowledge. Good night. Come on, get that book of, Neutrino. Get the book of Sacred Secrets tonight. And you won't be disappointed. And like I say, for those of you who want access to this stuff, we're going to do it one more time. Dr. Strange will tell you, there's a couple other people in our group. They have it. But I want Dr. Strange, make sure y'all go look at the file that says Diana and watch those videos. Man, it is unbelievable of what really happened to that lady. Okay. And it is terrible to see the plans that what that went down. It is just incredible. Okay. But anyway, truthversusauthority.com. Get your gear. Love y'all. Check it out. We'll see y'all. All right, Neutrino, I'll look for your order. Thank you.